flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to get there.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order, so we'll start with a roll call. Tim, would you start, please?
Timothy Silvernail, Budget Committee.
Chris Fowler, Budget Committee.
Lisa Joel, Budget Committee.
Elaine Goldberg, Budget Committee.
Laura Lambert, Select Board.
Diane Adinolfo, Select Board Rep to the Budget Committee.
Scott McDonald, Select Board.
Kathleen Pelletier, Select Board.
John Childs, Budget Committee.
Julie Keane, Budget Committee. Deb Carney, Budget Committee.
Mark Solomon, Budget Committee. Jeff Regis, Budget Committee.
John Harrington, Town Administrator.
Okay, and we have department heads, Chad Healthier, Eric Lambert, and we have our sewer department, and would you like to say your name, Boulay, for the record?
Al Boulay.
Okay, as a citizen, I'm gonna leave this here to talk loud. Welcome. All right, so we're gonna go right into the sewer budget.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Jeff Backman, Superintendent, and Russell McMahon is the Operations Foreman. I know most of you have heard this presentation before, so not too much has changed, so I wanted to give you guys the option of whether you wanted to go through this again. Specifically, Elaine, if you want to go through the presentation, or you just want to jump in and get down to the brass tacks.
If you want to do the presentation, because that will highlight the major changes, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so the sewer commission is proposing a 2.94% increase from last year, bringing the total budget to about $2.812 million. I'm sorry, it's an increase of $82,000 from 2025, which is the total proposed budget is $2.869 million. The default budget is the 2.812, which is $25,000 higher than the proposed 2025 budget. So we're here basically to talk about $57,000 on this slide. This slide shows the difference between the 26 requested budget and the default budget, about $57,000. So just to clarify, for those of you that don't know, the sewer budget is not funded with tax dollars, it's funded through user fees. The user fees come from the Allenstown sewer users. So the majority of Allenstown is on septic systems, it does not use the system. We're also funded through Pembroke sewer rents, and we're also funded through hauled waste rents. So the costs that we're discussing today are covered by the users and not the general taxpayers. The sewer budget is composed of 3 sub-budgets, or you may hear me refer to them as departments. The Allenstown collection system sub-budget. The purpose of that is to convey the wastewater from the homes and businesses to the plant, and it funds the operation and maintenance of the pump stations, appurtenances such as manholes, interceptors, main lines, and then there's also payroll, insurance, administrative costs with that as well. The plant sub-budget or department, that is where the actual treatment of the wastewater occurs, and it's funded by all 3 users as it provides a beneficial use to all 3 users. And then the hauled waste budget only provides a benefit to hauled waste users, and it's only funded by the hauled waste users. The budget summary is new this year. In previous years, we prepared a 6 or 7 page long budget. The sewer commission had asked me to summarize this into 1 page. So it's a simplified overview of the 3 sub-budgets. Each line on the budget summary is the sum of the corresponding line from the 3 departments. So I haven't highlighted in here in red the full-time salaries. If we go to the next slide, you can see how that summary is composed based on the sum of the 3 departments. This slide here is just a graphical representation of of our entire budget. The blue is the Allenstown collection system, orange is hauled waste, and green is the plant budget. As you can see, the plant budget makes up the largest portion, while Allenstown and hauled waste are smaller shares of the total. To further break down the plant budget, that's done in the next pie chart. We have to calculate what each, or estimate what each user is going to use in the treatment plant for the following year based on flow loadings. So flow is simple, that's just the gallons into the plant. Loadings have to be calculated throughout the year based on solids and BOD. So solids are things that float, settle, or suspend, and BOD is organic matter. So we have to estimate because we don't know what we're gonna receive in 2026 until we receive it all. So once we receive all of the pollutants, then we can reconcile so that the folks, the users, are paying what they actually use in the system. We have 6 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee, and 1 per diem employee, and we've budgeted a 4.95% increase in payroll for 2026. So Allenstown's total cost. The total cost for Allenstown is the sum of the Allenstown collection system sub-budget and the plant, and its share of the plant budget. That is Allenstown's total cost. So out of the $2.87 million that's being proposed, Allenstown is only funding about $654,000, as you can see there. And it's also important to understand that the total revenue that we're receiving from Allenstown, from our user fees, is only about $530,000. So you're actually, Allenstown's rates are being subsidized or offset by a surplus from hauled waste revenue. So the hauled waste revenue is paying for essentially all of Allenstown's capital costs, which includes the payments of our loan for the Suncook Pond Pump Station. It will also include the loan repayment for the construction that's about to begin any day now for the new clarifiers. It's also funded the biomag project. So, and the biomag project was a very important project, which is that our original design flow was 1.05 million gallons. The biomag project brought our flow up to 1.5 million gallons. So we were at a moratorium where there was no more connections that could be made to the plant. So the hauled waste funded that project to allow new development in towns such as the mill, the Optimus building. None of those things would have happened without that project. And that was all funded through hauled waste revenue. So just some key lines for you to look at. Full-time salaries, I mentioned already, that's up 4.95%. Health insurance is going to be down thanks to the town's insurance pool and exchange brokers. Sludge disposal, that's up 5.85%. That's due to contract. That's driven by higher solids. The majority of the solids come in through the hauled waste, and the hauled waste pays for that disposal. Allenstown's portion of that $823,500 is only about 10% of that. Chemicals is up, specifically polymer, that's line 52, that's up about 19.25%. That is a precursor to sludge disposal. That chemical is used to remove the water from the sludge so that the sludge can be disposed of at the landfill. That line's typically underfunded, so overspending may even continue in 2026 unless fuel costs stay low and production remains steady of that chemical. So this slide here is just showing what we're requesting for our budget and what the default budget's going to be. The default budget's close to a 1% increase from 2025. So the next steps would be at the board's committee, the select board and the budget committee to make recommendations, do the public hearing, deliberative session, and then we hope that you'll vote to approve this budget as we have in the past in March.
Okay, any questions of the budget committee or the board of selectmen?
I just want
make a comment, not so much a question. I think you guys do a fantastic job with your budget. You really have gone above and beyond over the years, the way you're bringing in those extra revenues. The service you're providing is very self-sustaining. Your requests for increases are always very minimal. This presentation really did a great job of breaking everything down and explaining where that money's coming from, how it's supporting these endeavors, and how the taxpayers are really benefiting from the work that you're doing. So I just want to applaud you. I personally would absolutely support this budget as a whole.
Thank you very much.
So I have a couple questions. So is it too early to determine what the fee, how the fee will, go up, increase with regards to what it is you're proposing?
Can you go to the next slide?
The user fee, I mean.
This is not in your packet. It's gonna be hard to see, but this is a comparison of Allenstown's current rate, which is all the way to the left. January 1st, we're going to have a 3% increase. I intend to ask the board for a 3% increase annually to keep pace with the rate of inflation. But as you can see, without the hauled waste, based on what they subsidize, your rates would be about 20 to 25% higher. So, to answer your question, there's going to be a 3% increase January 1. I intend to ask the board for another 3% increase for the following January.
Okay. And Jeff, you alluded to the fact that the new pump station accommodated the Brady Sullivan, Hillsbrook, and whatever major projects that was going on.
Biomet project.
As far as connections to the plant.
That was the biomet project, yes.
Okay, so is the plant now at capacity, now that we've added those on?
No, we still have more capacity. Moratorium was lifted. What the moratorium did was essentially the EPA and DES said, you can't take any more based on how you've been designed. Once we put in that upgrade, we went from 1.05 million gallons per day to 1.5 million gallons per day. That's our max design flow. So we're currently averaging less than 1 million gallons per day.
Okay.
So we're not looking at a moratorium anytime soon. We have available capacity extensions.
And that's the same with Pembroke?
Yes, they have available capacity as well.
Any other questions of the sewer department?
No
According to
question.
the chart, it's about $83 quarterly for the average home,
Depending on how you look at that, yeah, I mean.
so less than $400 a year.
So the actual average gallons is about the 8742, which would be, I guess. On the bottom chart, the residential billing examples, that first number in the second column, 65 is about the average. That's based on what they use. So obviously if you have 5 people in a house, instead of 2 people, you're gonna use more water. So that average is probably more like a 2 residential. I have several examples there. I've got,
That's
10,000
pretty
gallon
reasonable.
water.
The last time I had to pay a sewer bill, it was quite a bit more than that, and that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, as you can see, I mean, look at Henniker all the way
I
to
was
the
gonna say,
right.
it looks like we're beating up Pembroke there, but that's all right.
Henniker all the way to the right. Whether you use a gallon in Henniker or whether you use 17,000 gallons in Henniker, you get charged the same thing. It's when you use over 17,000 gallons, then they start adding on to 40.
Which is a lot. It
Yes.
sounds like a lot.
Yes.
10,000 gallons is about right, or something.
So when you're stuck behind a septic truck, say thank you.
So, Jeff, I'm asking Jeff a question. So Jeff, so how is that business looking? Is there competition between other?
Yeah, for a long time, we've had the lowest rate, in the state. With sludge disposal costs increasing, I felt it was necessary to ask the sewer commission to go go up on the rate. So we're currently, Concord's actually 6.5 cents, we're 7 cents per gallon. But I think that we offer a better system. I think that the haulers would rather prefer to come to our plant to discharge.
That's huge, that's right.
Yes.
It's all automated.
It's all automated, yes, yeah. So, you know, they come in, they weigh in, they charge based on weight. There's no checking site tubes, there's no way for them to try and squeeze something in. It's all,
That's good though.
yeah.
All right, that's awesome. I
This
just wanted to
Concord
see-
checks site tubes and checks pH on the site, you know, because of the volume that we take in. So we take in about 20 million gallons of septic per year, and then we take in about 5 million gallons of grease. The grease, there really isn't any competition on. Almost may even be the only thing in the state that takes the grease.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So that, the reason why I was asking this, because a lot of times, back in the past, it was kind of like this misconception of bringing in the septics, you know, people didn't really understand the benefit that does. And that's huge, I think that's a huge part of it. Obviously, when you said that, you know, for me to realize that that's actually covering us, that's,
Yes.
that's a great thing to highlight, so I just wanted to see how we were doing with that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
How about an update on the new project?
So, we're gonna break ground any day. So that,
This is the graded secondary
Yeah.
clarifier project that we all passed and voted for 2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago, it's $11 million, our loans for about $11 million. Everything came in under budget, the
Wow.
contract is right.
That
in
never
the budget.
happens.
So we're looking really good, it looks like we're gonna be able to add on some things, covers
This-
that will
this
help
capacity.
with, odors, things like that. So, and the engineers originally thought that construction would take 2 years, but the contractor, they're projecting 1 year,
Wow.
so.
Under budget, faster than
Well,
anticipated.
So, hey,
I mean,
knock
on
wood.
paper,
Knock
on
wood.
paper,
Yeah.
right now it's under budget, I intend to try to spend every penny, because we're going to be getting principal forgiveness on the loan.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you do
Maximize
spend
those
every
benefits.
penny, you're gonna be paying 80 cents on the dollar versus the dollar.
Yeah, absolutely, makes sense. I'm excited to hear about the covers.
Yeah, the cover. would be
Yeah.
interesting.
We wanna use all the free money we can.
So at the bottom of your summary worksheet, the two things, the principal and interest, that's your debt service, so you floated that bond, right, 11 million?
That would not be in this budget, we're not gonna have to make payments on that in this budget. We won't make payments on it until the project's done.
Okay, so what is this debt service for then?
That's for the Sunset Pond Pump Station.
Okay. Got it, thank you.
I'd like to know on line 17, the financial HR services, is that, salary or?
Financial HR services, that we contract our financial services out to MRI. That's just, it's an increase,
You
but
do that every year? 19 grand?
yes. But I can't stress the importance of having good books. I can't stress the importance of having good books.
Line 23, computer equipment software, $18,000.
That was a 25 budget, we're going down 10,000 to 8,800, that is cyclical, that's cyclical, those things have to be replaced.
Thank you. One more. Line 35, contractors.
Contractors, that's always a high line, that, we don't have the machinery or the equipment to do maintenance in the collection system, most of that get contracted out. It's to replace lines, putting manholes in, putting pipe, it's costly.
Okay.
One quickie, you have 0 for part-time salaries, but you said you had a per diem.
I do, I put it all in full-time line.
Oh, you, okay.
So Jeff, with regards to the salaries, is it, the increase is the increase, or is it step plus COLA?
In the past, we were doing merit and COLA. Last year, the commission did strictly merit. I believe it's their intention to do strictly merit again for 2026.
Okay. Any other questions of the SORC department?
Just a comment on your presentation. There's a line discrepancy. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to let you guys know. When you mentioned polymer on the page 6, I think it is. Yeah, page 6. You have it as line 53, but I noticed it was on line 52. Not a big deal. I just wanted to let you know, bring it to your attention.
Okay, no other questions, comments? All right, well, thank you both for coming, and you do a great job down there, so we're very appreciative. Thank you.
Submitted a draft warrant article to the town administrator. What that warrant article would be, is to create a contingency fund, should the budget need to be overspent. This would be at no cost to the taxpayers. It would be, our intention would be to move $295,000 out of the sewer unassigned fund balance to a new contingency fund.
Okay. So, question to John then, is the sewer unassigned fund balance different than the town's unassigned fund balance?
Totally separate.
Totally separate, okay. So you're just moving money around?
Yes, but it would give us flexibility.
Right.
Protection.
We can't shut the pipe off.
Yeah.
So this
No, don't do
allows
that.
us- This puts us in a position to, if something does come up, for
Right.
example.
Failure to plan is planning to fail, so we want to plan for success.
Right. Thank you.
Just curious how much money is in that fund?
In the unassigned fund balance, we've got a total sum of around $7.5 million. With about 1.5, 1.6 in custody of the trustees, and the balance is in custody of the treasurers.
Sounds pretty helpful. Sounds like you're doing, every year you add to it, I take it, or something like that, yeah.
Having that allows us to do the Clarify project, right, without,
So the hallways were
giving you
shut
all
off,
a big bill.
the money's in the bank, in case it's hot.
Great budget presentation, so thank you. Al, did you want to say anything?
I might be in the wrong forum here. I just wanted to know if there's any plans to restore the trash pickup and recycling at the landfill?
That will be a warrant article that we'll be discussing later. Yeah, there will be a warrant article for that.
Okay. Is that gonna be discussed here?
It will be,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, any other citizens' comment?
Yeah, I would like to, so, have some, quick.
Take what you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you. So.
Well, so I can see.
Yeah, come on. I'm up in the front row right here, there you go. Thank you. So those of you who've been on the board for a while, on the budget committee, on the selectmen's, know that I've been a part of the library trustees for quite a few years. I recently just stepped down from that position, but I wanted to give recognition to two people that are leaving the library right now, that I think that, you know, when I've given the budget, I give the budget, and then I go a little bit of a state of the library and all the cool things that we've done, and all the grants and volunteer time and donations that we've run the program, so that as Kathleen went over, we have a flat line budget. And one of the big parts of that is the two people that are getting ready to leave. And I just wanted to give them the recognition. So many times we find people that are passionate, they love their job, and then when they go, they just go. And then they don't get the recognition, they don't get the appreciation, and it's just another name. And so I didn't feel comfortable with that. I wanted to kind of highlight them. As you look, I just printed out something for you guys to look at. One of the things for Betsy and when they're leaving is the amount of volunteer time that they've gotten, the amount of donations and grants. Over $100,000 that she's done since she's been there. And I want to tell a quick story. When I first took over, it was, you know, it's a little overwhelming when you're on a new committee, right? And it was, we needed to do a lot of improvements. We needed to get the library where I thought it needed to be, and we had to hire someone new to come on. And Betsy was already working there, but we put her on as a director. And for the previous director, I said, I want a list of your pie in the sky, things you want, down to the basic things for the library. Never got it. The first day we brought Betsy on, I said, I need a list you already have. She had already been compiling this list from the greatest dreams to the small things. And we accomplished every single thing on that list. And one of the things we wanted to highlight is getting grants done. Because that's huge, as you all know. A small rural library, to be able to keep that budget flat, and still do the summer programs we did all the different, as you can see, I highlighted some of the things that we've done to the building itself. We've got new computers in there. I mean, it's huge. It's a huge thing, the amount of volunteer times we've had from the schools so they can get their required volunteer times. Working with the Honor Society, they did a couple of projects down in the basement that she got grants for to kind of make it a little bit better. So I just wanted to highlight these things and let you guys know that, and they're both of these people, Gwen and Betsy, they live in the town. They love the town and they love the library. So I just wanted to highlight that. Their last date's listed on there. If you guys want to come in or send an email, Facebook, just come and say thank you. Because to find two people that are passionate and have them leave is kind of tough. I mean, they left it in a good position. I mean, the library is in a great position right now. But I just wanted to highlight that for you. And just thank you for your time. And also thank everybody on here that does boards and committees. I know a lot of you guys are on 2 or 3 of them. It takes up time. Wanted to say appreciate that too. Okay?
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Jeff.
No,
They're looking for replacements right now.
okay, because last week when we went over the library though, we had the two, are these the 2 part-time librarians that?
Yes, the 2 part-time, the director and assistant, yeah. They both stepped down.
Can something like this go in the town report, John? Sure. Or I think that would be a
Thank you so much. I didn't even think about that. That would be huge. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Is there anything to gathering them to maybe do something on?
I don't know what they're doing.
So,
personally.
personnel matters, I was asked why the library hadn't done an announcement. I felt that was up to Betsy and Gwen to announce. It's their resignation. I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. I didn't know how they wanted to break that news or when they wanted to break it to the public. I do know the public has become aware on some level. So at our next meeting, we did plan on discussing that and seeing if Betsy would like to do her own announcement. I know when I separated with the town, I preferred to do my own announcement on Facebook to the taxpayers
They do their announcement.
that serve, so.
After they do their announcement and something for their time.
I know that I personally am planning to send some flowers to the young people. I don't know if they're going to do anything that to send off. I haven't done anything yet. Maybe
We have, actually, yes.
So are there any candidates to replace these positions?
We have received, yes. A lot of times when someone moves on and leaves a position and we post it, we get more applications from other people that are interested. So we do have applications from other people that are interested in fulfilling that role.
Thank you, Jeff, for sharing that. Okay.
Bless you.
I'm gonna take a 5-minute, recess. Number 2, this is
I was deer hunting, and I stepped on a slimy log and slipped. and-
okay, so we are back.
All right.
So Bambi,
Bambi was,
you have to see us today?
So now I'm thinking we need to, just kind of go over, do some discussions on the actual budget. John, did you have anything to add before we dive into all this?
no, not this.
Okay. All right, so the packets that you were given, that I sent out to you yesterday, there were some adjustments made. The Board of Selectmen did meet, and correct me if I'm wrong, Board of Selectmen, but, they've made some adjustments after their meeting, and I believe they've approved the budget based on their adjustments. And their adjustments, just to kind of summarize it, was the executive, minute transcriptions, that was $3,800, that's been eliminated, and the idea behind that was that they were going to,
No, I don't believe it
No.
was. I proposed that it be eliminated, but the board had said they felt that it would be too much work on that assistant.
Oh, so
They
that
wanted
one
to keep
stayed.
Yeah, they did.
Can you say that
Okay.
again? I'm sorry.
So like the very first line, here or second line.
so the discussion was to eliminate that line, but apparently it was not eliminated, and it was to put the administrative assistant to do the transcription of meetings,
Oh, okay.
you know, but apparently that stayed.
So they want hire somebody to do that now? or-
No, it would have been internally. Now it's still an employee that does it. I think it's Donna Baxter, I think, that does it. Is it Donna?
There are multiple people
Multiple
that do the
people.
thing.
Okay. Town report printing, that line item has been reduced by $500.
So it's like 3,000?
And then, contracted services, finance, contracted services, they brought that budget up to 55,000. And then the legal line, let's see, let me get to my legal line, was increased to 5,000.
50,000.
50,000, right, 50,000, so I can't read my own writing, 50,000. Government buildings, ARD, was, reduced by that $10,000 because that building has been sold, so there's no need to put money into that line item. The highway maintenance,
Elaine, can you give the page you're on?
Yeah, that was page 11 there. Then up there,
hold on here.
there's the item number. What was the one that was 50,000? Where was that?
50,000 is the legal line, so that would be, let me go back. Let me start over.
I was like, oh, it's more than.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, legal expenses is on page 7.
Top of the page. Yep.
Okay, that's your 50,000. Government building, so that's GGB, ARD, hold on.
Page 11. Yeah,
Page 11,
ARD, so that's $10,000.
$10,000. Highway maintenance was, hold on. Okay, highway maintenance is
Yeah.
this probably
Page
here.
maintenance is page 24.
Highway maintenance, page
Page
23.
26?
Huh? I have it at 23, hold on. Okay, highway maintenance, page 26. From 9,500 to 19,000. And apparently that's, you know, sweeping and something catch basins twice a year and all that.
Yeah,
So-
the feds changed the regulations. to
Yeah.
Require us to do it twice now.
Okay. And then we had, okay, and then there was also the matter of salaries, because the report that we looked at last week did not have any of the salaries. And the Board of Selectmen approved 2% across the board, well, the step increase of 2%, and an additional 2% of COLA. So, that's why it went up.
Which one?
All of the salaries townwide on all departments. Salary line was increased by 4%. So those were the major changes, were all of the changes or amendments that were made by the Board of Selectmen. So I would like to open it up for discussion, because now we have to vote on whether or not we recommend.
Just had a question about the step increases, so is that an annual thing, or is that just the time we review like the 2%, or how does that work?
Apparently there are 15 steps, correct me if I'm wrong, Board of Selectmen, 15 steps. So wherever they are, based on
So
their,
whoever it is, they might be due to get a step increase?
Correct.
Okay.
yeah.
Elaine,
Yes,
the Board of Selectmen still needs to vote on whether to recommend or not recommend. They did not take that vote.
right, but they approved the changes
The people
at the
board
meeting,
did.
right, okay. So, I'm opening it up for discussion. I have my own comments, but let's see what everyone else thinks about this.
Not a lot of
So,
money.
well, just to let you know, I mean, the budget is not an overall, I mean, increase bottom line, it's 0.21, 0.22, whatever, 0.21. So for every 532,000 spent, it used to be 535, it's now down to 532. Every $532,000 spent equates to $1 on your tax rate. So we are going in the right direction in that the new tax rate is now $24.88 as opposed to our old tax rate of $25.42.
That include the school?
That does not include the school. This is town and school are,
No, that tax rate does include the school.
well,
That's the
right, that's the
total tax
combined,
rate.
right. But what we're talking about here is just town. But no,
Yes.
that's the total tax rate, yes. So, and that does not include any warrant articles that I would like to also discuss later on today. My thought would be, there's always a fear out there that it could go default. If it goes default, the more it goes default, the wider the gap to play catch up. I mean, we all know that, that's standard, that's how it works. I would like to see, and this is my own personal opinion, it's not that of the Budget Committee, but I would like to see the 2% step increases, because that's what got us in trouble going back. We played catch up, for the last couple of years, we've been playing catch up and making salary adjustments. It's because, several years ago, they weren't doing the steps, and now we're trying to get everyone to where they need to be, which I have no problem with. So I would like to see the steps be in the budget and the COLA be a separate warrant article, and let the townspeople decide. That's my thought.
I would disagree that that's the issue. I would say if we look at history, we had 20 years where our budget was always approved. If you think of this like somebody who owns their own home, they have a small 3-bedroom house, and they decide to build an addition. Their whole family's excited, everybody wants that addition, it's gonna open up space, it's gonna be wonderful for them. But while they're adding on that addition, all their utility bills spike, their gas, their insurance costs, maybe they even experience a decrease in their salary. The addition's done and they get the final bill, that new mortgage, and they can't afford their home anymore. They have to sell it. So they just made that decision to expand their home at the cost of displacing themselves. In Allenstown, we've expanded our departments. I don't think what they have requested this year for their budgets is unreasonable. If we're gonna continue this same level of operations, it absolutely makes sense. But I think what the voters were telling us last year at the polls is they can no longer afford this level of operations. They want us to pare back these departments, and it's a tough decision to make. I think all the questions and suggestions I've made to decrease the budget by some may be perceived as me hurting the departments. I am honestly trying to help them. It is our job to create a budget that is sustainable and affordable and meets the needs, not the wants and desires of the departments or even the citizens, but their needs. That does not displace them from their homes. After last year's vote, the board decided to get rid of trash, which is a mandated service that we were supposed to. Essentially what that did.
But Kathleen, I mean, right now.
Was it lowered the services, but not in the way that people wanted.
Well, you know, there will always be.
Well, right now, we're in the thick of it.
Right now, I'm just talking salaries though.
But if you look at that default budget, which is what we're going up against, and you think backing that salary out is gonna prevent that default budget from being what is adopted, I don't think that's gonna happen. And I think our job as a budget committee and as a board of selectmen.
Okay,
is
but
to
look at it
craft
this
a
way.
budget that will pass.
But look at it this way, you put a 4% increase across the board in the budget,
Mhm.
okay? And you get up and you explain that, but it's in the budget.
Mhm.
The townspeople, if they're gonna go default, they're gonna go default, which means that they'll get no salary increases.
It does not mean that.
Yeah, it
So-
does.
No, it doesn't. So this year, we went default and those salary increases were still granted. So what happens if we go to a default budget is then, just like last year, the new Board of Selectmen will then be able to reallocate those funds. So the taxpayers can speak up and say how they would like that done, as they did last year. They said, please don't cut our trash, but the decision was made instead to do that. It wasn't the voters who directed that, they directed the default budget. Same thing will happen this year. And in order to make those decreases, to get down to that 2.1, I can tell you, I myself would ask all of those department heads to make that difficult decision to pare back their operations. I personally believe the raises are so important. As our police chief and our fire chief and our department heads have said, if we don't give raises and we lose personnel, it costs infinitely more to go through that hiring process, to retrain. You lose your productivity from your more experienced people who are stuck spending their time and energy trying to train somebody when they're not getting raises. Once you get them trained and you put all that work and money, thousands of dollars in, they leave and you start all over again. So to me, I would protect those raises at all costs.
And
But
that's what
it
we've been
doesn't
doing for the last couple of years, and every department head would come in and say, no, that, you know, it's not gonna affect it, and it's a revolving door
It does.
anyway, I get it.
It does.
You know?
We've also grown our department substantially over the years. We've gotten grant funding that has allowed us to add to our roll of officers. We chose to triple the size of our fire department. I think last year, when the tax impact of that hit the warrant article and the voters saw it, they said no. And it's not because they don't like those departments. It's not because they don't want to be safe. It's because, much like building that addition on their home that they would love, they know it is going to displace them. They can no longer afford to live in a community that provides this level of services. They need us to bring it down to meet their needs, not their wants.
I have to say something too, because we got a little convoluted as far as what needs and wants goes. And I'm just wanting to point out that you're at that difficult part where you are at home. It's not like you just said, okay, this town's staying the same, let's just triple everything. I think that's kind of a misnomer. What happened is we grew. We grew in areas that we knew we were gonna have to provide the services. And like Jeff just said, you have to plan. You have to plan ahead of time. So yeah, okay, say we don't do this, and then all these things increase, and then now you're playing catch up and it's gonna cost you even more money. So you have to plan for those things, you have to increase those things. It's difficult. It's at a difficult point in time where you're not that big and you're not this small, but you're edging forward and you're adding on things. You know, the two big developments, that would have put a lot of stress on the sewer, on the fire department to be able to provide the services that aren't just wants, those are needs.
But
And I
it
can
needs-
understand how you're looking, hold on a second, I understand how you can look at it both ways and understand that, okay, when you say it that way though, you're saying it like we just tripled the fire department out of no reason, because we were growing, and it's continuing to grow. They're gonna add a new section, so we have to be smart about the way we're conveying this also, is that there is needs, wants, and there's also having to plan for the future. And I'm a blue collar worker, I know, the taxes go up, it's tough, man. We have that bump, I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, how are we gonna put this escrow in so I'm not paying even more? It's tough, it's really tough. But we have to understand that we have to convey the importance to also be prepared about it. And that's what we're doing in this room, having a good conversation about what the needs and the wants really are. So it's difficult, and I just wanted to point that out, that we are growing, we do, if we don't prepare for the future, it's gonna be hard to catch up for that later, like you were just saying. Now you gotta put all these people on, now we have to do this and this, maybe we're not even providing adequate service. I just wanted to bring that, I understand, and it's a balance.
I did
It's
not
tough.
mean to imply that we tripled our fire department arbitrarily or because
Well,
we
you say
didn't need
needs
to.
and wants.
Well,
And
yes.
sometimes the wants and needs are the same, they're not independent of each other.
But the-
We need to do this.
There's a line.
But
There's a
the
line somewhere.
voters have, the voters
Yeah.
have the final say, and it all depends on that budget that we propose.
I understand,
and
but
when
you
it's
also,
passed.
the importance of a society is to have educated people that are going to go into it. And not just educated from one point of view, educated from all aspects of it. Because what happens is we get myopic. And when you get myopic and you go on one section, this is it, sky is falling, this is what's going on. Instead of taking a broader picture and giving it all the information so everybody can say, okay, yeah, this is where we're at right now, but this is why we're at, and this is where we can be at in the future. But we have to make sure that we don't just focus on like the doom and gloom aspect of everything. Yeah, it's tough right now, and the voters need to be educated on everything about it, not just the doom part about it. We're growing, we have aspects to add a lot more onto this now. I just wanted to say, I just wanted to
And
add that point of view.
my comment was not to eliminate salaries, that's not
Yeah.
where I'm going at all. You know, put the step increase so that we're consistent with each year. You know, I mean, that being said, how many adjustments were made to some salaries over the last year alone?
But
You know.
we had a wage classification study that justified that. This approach that we're taking, I understand that the people in this room are educated about this budget, why it's being asked for and what the needs are. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that is what we are doing. The voters, at the end of the day, are the ones who go into that poll and they will decide. Last year, they were loud and clear. They told us, you need to bring it down.
So all the more,
So
let
this
the
year-
voters decide then.
Well, we're doing the same thing, aren't we? We're, instead of asking our department heads to take the time now to prepare and, yes, decrease their workforces, pare back their departments, present a budget that can be passed, allowing them months to let their employees adjust and know what's coming, to go through that planning process so that come March, we're not hit like a hammer over the head with it. Instead, once again, like we did last year, we're gonna say, we're gonna go in with this giant budget that history has shown us is not gonna pass, that the voters have been vocal, they're not gonna pass. And then, in March, we're all gonna scramble to try to come up with something that operates in that $2 million default. It's insane. That is what we're doing.
I disagree with that. But, I mean, that's just me, you know, I'm bringing it up for discussion
One quick
purposes.
point. If you look at the town medium income, and we should be, our budget should reflect that. You know, I've talked to people that are probably below that, and they all say they gotta get out of Allenstown, they can't afford to live here.
But it's not just Allenstown, though, Mark. I
Well, that
mean,
doesn't matter.
No, I know that, but it's not just Allenstown,
But
you know,
we can
and,
help our people. We can craft a
If we
budget
can
that they
make
can
some
afford.
adjustments and maybe somehow find that happy line somewhere, and it would show a good token of faith to the town people too, if we came and presented it today, we worked hard, and this is the best budget we can come up with.
and I'm not saying the department heads haven't worked hard, because I know that they have. You know, I know that they have, and they're skinny budgets to begin with, you know?
I
But-
agree, but they're based off current operations, and the
If we
townspeople are
present
telling us.
a
they
big
can't
budget,
afford
they're
it.
gonna automatically go default, it's almost like a given, so then we just have to prepare for
We
that.
do have that trash mooring article coming in, so when they go in, they're gonna be adding that 5.2. So
Right.
let's say that trash mooring article comes down to 300,000. So they're automatically just gonna be treading water right there. If they don't wanna increase, they're gonna go 5.2 plus the 300,000 for trash. They're gonna get their trash in their transfer station, which we are mandated by law to provide. And then we're gonna have to make those cuts across those other departments that right now have decided not to do that.
So are we mandated to do pickup?
No.
Just to
Not
provide-
pickup.
So the way station
We have
we're
to have a
mandated to, so I think that's,
transfer
we're mandated to have a place.
A place to
To
bring
dump.
the
Place,
trash.
yep, and as I
Right.
spoke at the last budget meeting, my intention is to get the numbers for both options to provide trash pickup as opposed to do a transfer station. I'll share that information with the public, see what they're in favor of, and then I will amend that warrant article to reflect a budget amount that accurately meets our needs so that we can reopen the transfer station or reinstate trash pickup as the voters want. Again, it would be foolhardy of me to try to push just my own personal desires on the voters, because at the end of the day, they're going in that booth and they're the ones who are gonna vote. If I don't have stakeholder buy-in, if I don't have them in agreement with that decision, it's never gonna pass, much like this budget.
Yeah, but what, so, being a voter as well as being on these boards for so long, you gotta say, okay, at what point is a budget that's gonna pass? You know, and at what sacrifice is that budget's gonna pass? I mean, all the towns are going through the same thing. If you look across the board, it's tough. It is
will
really
have an
tough.
impact, and nothing that's done can't be undone. So say our department heads, if we give a directive to our fire and police and say you each need to cut $100,000 out of your budget, there will be impacts from that, and the voters will feel it.
I mean, that's
And
gonna
maybe
be on
over this next
every
year,
department
if we
that.
see crime rates go up, we see response rates go down, the voters see a change and they say, oh my gosh, we can't abide by this. Next year, we come and we say, okay, you've identified these issues, do you want to pay? Can you
That's-
afford, is it
We're
worth
gonna
it to
cost
you?
more money to add those people
But
back in, like you said
you're
earlier.
saying that, you know, that's not good to do, to put,
Right.
but let's
Right
cut,
now,
let's
the
cut the
voters have
police and
told
see if
us-
crime rate goes up. That's not a good way of looking. I'm sorry, I'm just saying, that's
I
not a good.
get that, but
that's
the
not a good
voters
way-
are the ones
that's
who
a
are
dis-
making that decision
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and they will vote for this default budget,
Yeah, I
they will
understand that,
force
but we
it.
still have to say, as being responsible, that that's not a very logical way of looking at things. Cut the police if the crime rate goes up. That's, I mean, it's not, I mean, I'm just saying my opinion. I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's
no, I
wrong
get
or
it.
right or anything like that.
I just
We
disagree.
have-
I think you
I
do
understand.
progress in life, you make decisions, you get to a good place, and then, especially in this instance where people are saying, we can't afford this, you see where you can cut back. In my personal life, I would do that. I would maybe switch from Netflix to another subscription model or something because I'm spending too much on media. I'll try it out for a while. Oh, this doesn't have the shows I want. I'm not getting the usage. I'll go back. Trial and error. You can't make a decision and think that everything is set in
Oh, no,
stone in
I agree
government.
with you,
You
but
constantly have to reassess.
No one's
and
breaking in my house
adapt
if I
and
get rid
make
of
those
Netflix,
changes.
you know, just saying.
You have to reassess every decision you make throughout, and you're always open to make changes.
I think we should move on. I don't wanna take
Right.
any more time on this discussion.
So that was one thing, and of course, we haven't read the warrant articles, but I know that one of the warrant articles is going to be $450,000 to reinstate your trash.
That's the one I spoke about amending based
Amend-
upon the realistic.
Right, but we were
numbers.
supposed to have both of those numbers so that we could decide on what our thoughts were on that for today.
Oh, I think Chad got a ballpark, but I don't know if anything has been cemented, so I wouldn't.
So we're looking at about, depending on what number we can negotiate, just for disposal now, that's just tipping fees, we're looking at between $175,000 and $200,000 a year.
That's tipping fees,
Only.
that's if we had,
That's tipping fees only, so that's to remove the trash.
is that curbside?
That would be all the tipping fees.
That's to get rid of the trash collected, no matter how it's collected.
Right, so that would be a
Right.
curbside number.
So what is
As
the
well
per,
as the transfer
what is the
station.
cost per ton?
The cost right now, it depends on what contract you can lock in, it's anywhere between $115 and $133 a ton.
So you're saying 200,000 to completely open back where we were?
No, that's just tipping fees, that's what it costs to bring it to there. Just to get rid of the trash. We produce about 1,500 ton of trash and
So
recyclables.
that doesn't count the.
That doesn't
cost
count
of-
collection, it doesn't count anything,
That's
okay?
from the transfer station.
So the 1,500 tons that you're collecting now, or that we did collect,
Yeah.
that was weekly,
Nope, that's yearly,
yearly?
yeah.
And that's from the transfer station?
That's from both curbside and transfer.
So do you have a total pickup number for
So,
immediate curbside?
so it all depends on how they, or everybody wants to go with it. The collections numbers from Casella are gonna be about $195,000 if we went back with Casella to do it. I got another vendor that would do it for probably about $160,000, but there would be a barrel the town would be, have to buy barrels.
And what vendor is that?
That was Permore.
But that's just to have
Curbside.
disposal of that, this is curbside,
That's just curbside.
but no barrels, Casella
Back
will
up
provide
to
barrels.
200,000.
Casella will provide barrels because it's part of their, so if you look at it, it's about $30,000 a year for the first 3 years if you go with Permore to add barrels to it. So they're about the same number.
My barrel was $100.
Yeah, well, you can buy 1,100 of them
Okay.
for the whole town. So,
Is there an option without the barrel, you provide your own barrel?
Yeah, what if they,
Well,
what
the
if we buy
problem-
the barrel from them?
I didn't get that deep into it
Yeah.
with anybody, just because I'm asking for the moon, and the contracts like this usually take months. I had 5 days. So, that being said, the curbside, I mean, the transfer station becomes a hitch. Because I'm waiting for Casella still to give me a number to run the transfer station or run our barrels and remove everything from the transfer station.
And you would ask Casella to do that.
They're the only ones that seem to be big enough to handle it.
So that would be, we bring our trash to the dump, to
Right.
the transfer station, and then Casella disposes it.
Right.
But we
So-
don't know what that number is.
Well, I don't know what they're gonna charge us. And the other thing that, and I've talked to numerous people, is how many ton are gonna end up at the transfer station. I can tell you, historically, we had about 5 ton a week. But if we don't provide a curbside service, how many people are actually gonna cancel their curbside and bring it to the transfer station? So that's where that gets sticky. So to give you the best numbers I could, I looked at it if we went back to doing it ourselves, because I can control those numbers and I know those numbers. So looking at it, if we went back to a full program like we had when we used to run the transfer station, we have curbside pickup of trash only, and we have a transfer station that we run ourselves and we collect. The first year cost would be about $413,000.
So I have a question.
But is that, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
no, is that the cost of buying a pack?
Absolutely. That includes the cost of a rear load packer.
All right, can I just ask a question? If this is a remedial question, please do, because I'm just trying to sort this all out. So if we're gonna put a warrant article on, and it sounds to me that we don't really have any solid numbers for anything. We really don't know what the cost is gonna be to the household, to us, to anybody. I would think it would do our due diligence to have some solid numbers to see.
I'm working on that, Jeff.
Oh,
You're
no,
gonna give me some time.
I-
And we have a month and a half. That
understand.
warrant articles don't have to be amended until deliberative.
I
So, I
understand,
gotta-
man, it's a hard, I'm kinda like in your corner when I'm saying this, I'm saying that it's a lot to come up with in a short period of
Well,
time.
the warrant article's going on because the voters signed it, so
500
we don't have
signatures.
a.
And I would say, based on the numbers that I've heard from Chad, it sounds like right now the warrant article is for 450,000. 50,000 remains in the proposed budget, so we could take that off the top because his numbers are coming in around 400, it seems like. He'll need to work out the discrepancy between if we just did the transfer station without curbside pickup, but it sounds like doing that, the curbside pickup is a minimal added expense on there, so it's a huge extra service at a very small cost difference potentially.
So for us, curbside is 1413, or 413 rather. For us to run the transfer station alone would be like 280.
We're nickel and diamond over $500. I think just having the transfer station is, even that minimal amount, you wanna cut everywhere else, but you're willing to put that minimal amount in there. Fred, it sounds like $20,000. So, I mean, I think at least if the transfer station was open, it would save your guys from going around the town if people just bring their trash. Cause it might be a minimal amount, but if we're trying to give the best faith budget, having that minimal amount in there doesn't seem, gives them an option, but we're still trying to make an effort to cut it back.
Compromise.
Mhm.
Kind of compromise with that.
And the people may say that's what they agree with. Like, again, I plan on getting as much feedback from the voters because they're the ones ultimately at the deliberative and at the polls that will make this decision. So I wanna make sure that I present a number they all
100%.
support.
And I'm just trying to vet that out too, because I'm trying to figure it all out also, you know, because it's been a while since everybody's kind of, a lot of people kind of got their service already set up. You know, I know I got a veterans discount in with mine, so it's pretty reasonable for my household, you know, and I just think a lot of people might be in there being comfortable getting it, maybe not, maybe people are like, I'm done, I don't wanna do this, you know.
No, and to your point, I mean, if we just do the curb, I mean, we do the transfer station,
Right.
I'm keeping my curbside.
Yeah, so
Because,
I'm
and I
just-
drive there every day, you know, I'm just not bringing my trash to the dump unless I have to go,
But
you
in
know?
my personal opinion, I've said this before, I think having that transfer station is a huge thing for me. And I'm saying I would even be willing to pay a monthly thing, a weekly thing, or whatever it may be, a sticker program. Maybe we can do something where we pay as you go in there, you know, maybe you scan something and you pay. There's a lot of things that we can look over. There's always a solution, we just have to be willing to look at what other possible might be to gain some revenue to operate.
And
That's a huge thing to have.
We did discuss that when we went to default last March. We looked at, certain trash bags, pay to throw, stickers, selling stickers for people to be able to use the transfer station. Chad actually presented, I think, 3 or 4 options utilizing those different mechanisms and how we could have decreased trash costs, but still kept a trash service and the transfer station. But they just
I'm
weren't,
just thinking of
they
the
weren't
transfer
approved.
station alone, you know what I mean, right now.
Right.
I think what's gonna
That's the
happen,
compromise.
and
Yeah, we
and I
did
know.
discuss that in
Yeah,
March.
and I know, I forgive me, like I said, if these are remedial things,
Yeah.
forgive me, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to catch myself up.
I just wanna let you know the research is there, it
Okay,
has been
so,
done. and started.
because I'm just trying to think about, like you said, you have to try things and see things and experiment and see how things going. And we have a short period of time to get these things on a warrant article, you know, I was thinking that, you know, a lot of people are locked into their service, that the transfer station is huge to
And,
get
I
focused
mean,
on that.
Yeah. we
For
need
me,
a
as a
transfer
highway,
station.
I mean, as the highway department, the road agent, my concern is the transfer station, because that's where we're not compliant.
Right.
Right now, Permore is actually, I mean, they made $36 last week, they sat 2 guys at the transfer station for 8 hours, and they brought in $36 worth
Now,
of
how-
revenue.
again-
So they're doing the town a favor
Right.
right now,
Right.
and, I mean, they're getting some exposure,
Right.
but they're not gonna do it they're not gonna do it forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if that anybody else will step up and do it either. So my concern is we need to be in compliance with DES.
So-
And opening the transfer station does that.
Yeah, I think that's
The
kind of.
curbside portion of it,
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you with the transfer station and see if we can get something that's, you know, a good number so people can see what it is. I mean, that's a huge benefit, you know, to do that. And,
so at 270 or 280 for the transfer station to open, that includes buying a packer. Because the biggest cost of everything that works at that transfer station is hauling trash. That's the number one dollar in every contract.
So you use the Packer to haul what, the Concord?
We use packer to haul to whoever gives us the best
Whoever.
deal on,
So you'd save that Casella cost?
we would save those hauling fees.
Yeah.
And I mean, so that equates into $200,000 for a packer. The Premier is who's actually bailing out Pembroke right now with their accident. What they do is they lease packers for a year. And then after that, they sell them outright. So I can get a reasonable price, rear load packer with 3 or 4 years on the on the factory warranty for about between $200,000 and $220,000. The guess in that number, that 270 number, or 280 number rather, the guess in it is how much tonnage is actually coming.
Because this 280 does not include tipping fees.
It does include tipping fees.
It includes tipping fees.
Yes,
And it includes a new packer.
yes.
Is it a used packer or a new packer?
It's a used packer. It's just like the one that is from Premier. We've talked to them a couple times in the last go around with this. And what they do is they lease a packer like Pembroke has now. They'll lease it to them for a year and then they sell them outright. So for a rear load packer, which would allow us to empty the dumpsters at the transfer station and any other municipal building that would have them. We're looking at $200,000 for the Packer, depending on which one we buy. If we're running it just in the transfer station, going off of history, we're looking at about $1,500 in fuel for the year. Repair costs, hopefully nothing on a new Packer, but we put it in $2,500, that would buy us a set of tires for the Packer. We'd have to repurchase our dumpsters. We're looking at about $16,000 in dumpsters. And I guess we kind of estimated the tonnage to be 500 ton at the transfer station. That's a third of the town's tonnage numbers.
So I noticed that you had a couple of dumpsters at the dump already.
Mhm.
Can those be used? Are those ours?
Those are ours. There's two out back that are ours.
Okay.
But in the past, we had 10 dumpsters in the transfer station. We used to have one at Town Hall, one at the fire department. We had one at the rec center. We actually had two at the rec center. So we had them spread out, and one at the PD. I think the fire and the PD can go without the dumpsters and just go with regular cans, and those could be picked up. But we'll need, I think if we move everything, the town hall operations with the kindergarten, and if fire med comes into that new town hall, I think there'll be a need for the dumpster there. So that's kind of where the transfer station numbers come. And that, like I said, that 500 ton is my best estimate. Kind of I talked with a couple of the guys that have been with Casella for years. One of them had come over from Pinard, and we're kind of trying to estimate who would drop service, and then all the other fees, or feed items like mattresses and couches and all those things.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Why don't you lease the Packer? Because it sounds like they don't have a
$80,000
long
a year.
life cycle.
So a Packer, the last Packer we bought in 2001, we got rid of in 2014. So if I can get 10 years out of a Packer, that Packer's 20 grand a year, then a Packer to lease is 70 a year. So I think cheaper overall. And typically, if we're not doing curbside with it, I think the repair costs will be far less. The big costs in repairs in the old Packer were brakes and tires. Because of the constant weaving, you burn the tires off the triaxle and the brakes, because you're just going stop and go all day.
I don't even know what a Packer is, but
So-
when you talk about they take them off lease after a couple of years,
Yeah.
that to me says
So
there's problems down the road with those.
Yeah,
And that's why they get rid of them.
yeah, I mean, like in the past, we've kept ours typically to the end of life, and we've usually run about 10 to 12 years with our Packer. They're not automated like Pembroke's, and that sometimes is the hitch. The one-arm bandits or the ones with these have a lot of servos and a lot of stuff, 5 years on that Packer, and then it goes away.
Okay,
So,
just curious.
sure.
And I know what Jeff said about having, like, I have Permore.
Yep.
And I've even said, like, if it goes back to trash pickup in town, I'd probably keep Permore. So I think if people are already set in what they have going on, just the transfer station would be good. And I saw them pick up yesterday, and they have some new kind of truck. Like almost like a Packer-ish, he had to get out, instead of the trailer attached to his pickup truck.
Sure.
I was like, oh, that's cool, we got a truck. And the guys are great, and so I'm super happy that they're helping out and they're getting a name for themselves. I wasn't sure I was gonna get rid of them even if we got trash pickup. So I'm all for just the transfer station.
And I'll say it again, I mean, there's three or four companies picking up curbside in town. And I haven't heard anything bad about any of them. I've had interactions with most of them at this point, since they've gone private, and they've all been super responsive, and they've all been really good to deal with. So, I mean, I think we've lucked out in that part. As far as the town goes, I mean, there's some very good contractors out there that are.
Yeah, I pay $44 a month in this trash and recycling. Like, to me, I'm like, that's cheap.
Yeah, so I have a question, so the petition was done at the very beginning, before anybody got the trash service or anything like that? When was that change, that shock, right?
It
That was-
was right at the same time.
At
for
the same
transfer
time, okay.
stations.
That's what I'm saying. All right, yeah. And I assume now, I think some of the things have settled down. I remember it was a lot, it was very contentious when I first came over, because it was kind of chaotic. I mean, no one knew it, and fear of the unknown is probably the worst, you know, how are we gonna be picked up, how are we gonna afford it, what's gonna be? And I think everybody's kind of settled down into their services, but I think that's good information. So at the transfer station right now, forgive me again if it's a different question, what are they doing? Like, what are you allowed to bring there? How is that working?
So what we're taking is basically the feed items, except for furniture. So we're still, the town portion, part of it, we're still taking metal, oil, brush, leaves, mercury devices, BMPs, battery, or BPMs rather. Is that right? BP. Mark, you know what it is.
No.
You said it, you know, I'm like, okay,
Batteries,
TV, monitor, all that type of stuff that.
Battery bulbs and something.
Yeah, we're taking all of them. And Permore's coming in is now taking, trash, like regular household solid waste and furniture, to kind of bridge the gap.
I also think it's important to point out that people have been paying for their trash removal through their tax dollars this year and then paying again out of pocket. They are very aware of that. That is the reason that our default budget is dropping from 5.5 to 5.2, because we are pulling that trash out of there. So when people pass this warrant article, whichever direction they choose to go in, they will be writing that, what I consider wrong. They'll be only paying once for that trash. They won't be paying twice. If they choose to maintain curbside pickup, then that's their choice, where this past year it was forced on them, they had no
Right.
choice.
A quick summary, you're saying if we open up just the transfer station, we still need a pack, kind of. We'll save money with the pack.
Yeah.
So you might as well do curbside with the pack, because it's not that much of a difference,
Well,
right?
wear and tear and tires and brakes.
Well, I mean, there is
Then
a,
using
What
a
about
guy, you'll
health?
have to lose a guy. to do
Yeah,
it
what about
yourself.
health?
there is a deal, there is a loss doing curbside. I mean, the big increase is because of the tonnage. We would be taking all of the tonnage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Load
So-
would go up.
Yeah, so I mean, your tonnage numbers are, they're going from curbside at like 160, or excuse me, curbside at like 200 to transfer station at like 65 or so. You know, so it depends, and it depends. I mean, again, I just don't know how many people will drop that service. You know, I think, like Jeff said, you know, or alluded to that, over the last year, we've all kind of settled into that, you know. But there are people in talking to some of the haulers, there are people that are struggling. That $50 or $41 a month is a lot of, you know, is a lot that they don't want to spend. So if they can bring that one bag or two bags in the transfer station, you know, for me, I fill up barrels. You know, I mean, but
That's another thought, is how about every other week? You know, I can go 2 weeks on a curbside type of thing.
you don't want to be on the back of a packer 2 weeks into a.
Yeah,
into
summertime. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't
especially
want-
if there's diapers involved or
Yeah,
whatever.
after
So-
4th of July.
Chad, will you need,
Oh, go
sorry,
ahead, sorry.
will you need more people to help you run that if you reopen it?
The
Do
transfer
you have enough
station,
people? Yes.
I think we have the personnel to do that.
And curbside, if we do curbside?
Curbside, we would have to, I mean, we did it before.
Well,
with
but
the
when-
same
when we
number of
went to-
people.
When we went to Casella's,
Mhm.
it's my understanding, if I remember correctly, one person got laid off.
Yeah, they came back. We had the same number prior to as we do now. We did lay one off. And then what happened is we laid off one gentleman, we added $40,000 to the budget for a private guy to plow, and we added other numbers in there. Look, when it all shook out, it was too much money. It cost us more money to lay off one guy because he was driving a Packer 2 mornings a week, but he was also doing everything else that with the highway department the other days.
So the Packer you would propose we buy,
Mhm.
the guys have to pick up the garbage and.
There's a Johnny plate in the back, so if you've seen the guys that do it now, they wheel it up, there's actually two on the back. They wheel them up, it dumps the barrel, and then, so the guys would have to wheel them from the curb to the back of the truck, run the lever, then wheel them back.
So that's a specific trash can we have to purchase?
It's the same trash cans that are there now, that everybody has now. The ones that you've had with Casella are the ones that, yeah.
I don't have a trash,
Yeah.
I just use regular trash cans.
Yeah, so it would be the toter the toter would be.
Cost too, to purchase the.
Right.
Any other discussion?
Again, I apologize if we took this to many.
No, it was good discussion, yeah.
Yeah, I got one question.
Go ahead.
Recycling, is that dead in Allenstown? I mean, I know the metal, you said the metal, but I'm talking about bottles and cans.
So the problem, I don't have this month's numbers.
Chad, can I talk about the warrant article real quick? Just because even regardless of your numbers or what you have going, there is another petition warrant article to start a revolving fund for recycling. Last year, before we got rid of our trash, we first nixed recycling because the cost had gone through the roof. So the hope is if that petition warrant article passes, we could implement a recycling program that is paid for hopefully by itself. The funds, it would probably have to charge, you'd have to charge to recycle, but that money would go back into building that program up. Once we had the dumpsters, the mechanisms, whatever we needed to continue recycling, we could discontinue that fund. And then at that point, we'd be set up. But that will depend on if that warrant article passes or fails, and I don't know that Chad's done any preparation for that warrant article one way or the other.
How would you make money on recycling?
The market has fallen out quite a bit on it, but it is cyclical, so there are ways you can, especially if you separate it. Before we couldn't, we did single stream recycling, we weren't separating. But if we create this fund and we can get those separate dumpsters, we could then sell trash depending on the market.
Who's
Sometimes there's a
monitoring the
market.
dumpsters to make sure people aren't, how does that work?
That's always a challenge too, so usually, I mean, I know that Allison has been wonderful in the past when we were separating. She was right on top of things, she would look at people's bags if she saw you going, but there is a chance that stuff doesn't get separated adequately.
Unfortunately, recycling now is tough to.
If you don't source separate your recycling, you make
no money.
It's a huge cost.
Yeah.
So right now, single stream recycling costs more than trash to get rid of. And it's been like that for years now. Every once in a while, something will bump up and it becomes very close. But the problem with single stream recycling is that it all gets packed into that. So where the big money in your recycling is cardboard, paper, aluminum, and tin. Everything else is cost. It costs $50 a ton to get rid of, to dump glass if you just do glass alone. Yeah. So that being said, the problem with the single stream app is when you crush it, all that glass gets pushed into everything. So when the glass breaks, it gets pushed into the cardboard. Now the cardboard's no good. You know, so it's a really flawed system. It came up, it was very good for a while. China was buying it all. Right. They were throwing most of it in the ocean. But what they were getting out of it, they were using. And since then, they won't take it anymore. And there's just no, and if you've ever been to a plant, I've toured a couple, where you watch that stuff come out of the truck and onto a line, and you watch 21 people dig through it. And one guy's just throwing cardboard behind him, and the other guy's throwing cans. It's just so labor intense.
So how would we be able to do recycling?
So what a lot of people do is, in Hooksett does it, is you source separate. So the thought behind it was at some point when the new highway department's built, you use the old garage. That's the entrance to your transfer station. You drive in, you put your bottles here, you put your cardboard here, you put your blah, 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 and then the rest of it goes in the dumpster out back. And then it's baled and sold. And I mean, I can take you to, I mean, we can go up to Barnstead, or I don't know if it's technically Barnstead or Pittsfield. It's Pittsfields, but it's in almost in Barnstead. I mean, they're almost self-funded. Hooksett usually makes pretty good money on it.
So what's the cost to get that started?
Well, that was the idea with the with the fund, just to start us in that direction.
Part of that warrant article did call for $25,000 from unassigned fund balance. I do know that we are not planning on funding other capital reserve accounts from unassigned fund balance because we have not yet successfully completed our 2024 audit. And at the auditor's recommendation, they did not think we should attempt to fund all of our capital reserve accounts. They're not sure what that balance is. I personally think if that is the only thing, only $25,000 that we're funding out of that unassigned fund balance, I think we'll be okay. But that could always be amended at the deliberative if the voters don't feel that way.
Okay, I need to, stop the recording here to go into step 3, so we'll take a 2-minute break. I'd like to continue on, to try to, the plan is to be out of here by 1, right? So, okay. That's okay. So I want to thank everyone's input, Kathleen, Chad, I appreciate your opinions, and that's all this is opinions. But I do want to point out a couple of things. If the $450,000 bond, warrant article were to pass, you're looking at 84 cents per thousand on your tax, rate.
84?
On your tax rate. Okay? So, for me, and you guys, we can keep this going if you'd like, but I think we've had enough discussion about this, because we really don't have actual contract facts for going one way or the other. So I would like to table this $450,000 as well as the $25,000 warrant article for the recycling until after we meet with the school, and then we'll kind of finalize that. And then we hopefully will have actual contracts. This is number A, what it's gonna cost if the town does it, or B, if we contract it out to Casella or whoever. Because I just don't think that we have, a lot of it right now is guesswork.
I've gotten, the numbers that I have for the town to do it, I'm comfortable with.
Right.
But unless I put out an RFP,
Right.
I'm not gonna get solid numbers from any of these guys. And that's why I kind of picked Permore's and Casella's minds, knowing that we could have a number, and that if this actually went forward, that it would be, an RFP would have to be produced, it'd have to go to whoever, whichever vendor wanted to bid and take care of it. You know what I mean? So if you want us to put on an RFP, we can start on that, but we're not getting that back until February. We could probably have it for deliberative.
But you could present us with, even if it's a page, based on your conversations with Casella or Permont or, just something that we can actually have, in support of the discussion. I think that would be very helpful.
Okay.
And then we can just vote on that after we do the school, which is, I think, on the 13th or whatever date that is. Okay.
I think it needs to be known for the taxpayers too, that if that passes, whether it's just a transfer station or pickup, that whatever the budget is, they need to add that money.
Exactly.
Add to it.
Exactly.
It's not like that they know that.
And I did the math, for me personally, I took my assessment, how much of it I pay, at $450. And then I kind of divided it, I subtracted from what I'm paying to have my trash picked up. And for me, it's cheaper to keep it the way it is, but that's for me, that's not gonna be the same.
I'm doing some quick, 84 cents per thousand, right?
Right.
So $500,000 house is $840. Oh no, $420 or something, right?
But Permore takes
Yeah.
recycling too, so.
I'm paying, I think, 600 or so for Casella,
Oh,
for
you gotta
five
pay more
something.
for this one.
Yeah, always has.
I'm thinking it's close to $40 a month, right? So that's 500.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna vary for everybody, but for me, it was cheaper, but maybe I don't pay it, I don't have enough trash, I don't know, but for me, it's cheaper. Okay, so anything else that you wanna discuss? Are we ready to start voting on some of these budgets? Are we ready? Do we wanna start voting on these, but we don't, you're not ready, John?
I'd rather do it after everything gets up.
Okay. Is that the feel for everybody?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Firm numbers.
Yeah.
I think what Chad is saying is you're not gonna get numbers.
I mean, I can put together, I can
At least
put that,
a breakdown.
You can give them in writing what you have now.
a breakdown, so tell me exactly what you.
Well, no, I mean, if the town were to do it at the transfer station, you know, and then we can do the pros and cons of both, you know, what it would cost for a packer, what it would cost to buy the dumpsters, what it would cost, you know, and the same for if it's curbside.
I don't even know if you need all those individual costs. We're gonna amend the warrant article to represent one total figure. So what is the figure for just the transfer station, the total figure, and what is the figure for transfer station and pickup? That's the real debate. Because how that gets implemented will be decided after the vote. There'll be plenty of time to make changes. Maybe they do put an RFP out, maybe they decide to adopt a pay-to-throw
What's that?
program.
So maybe we could all get a copy of that list, that would be great.
You don't have access to the copy machine now.
Well, you could give it back to Chad, you could probably shoot it out via email.
Yeah, and then we'll vote.
Yeah.
This,
No,
so
no.
we did
Send
break
to
it
me and
down.
I can
Yep.
send it out.
So to do, trash collection curbside in the transfer station to run the program, which is pretty much mirrors what we had.
What
in
we
the
had
past.
before.
Okay, what is your writing? I can't read your writing.
That's just per more.
Okay.
And that was their, they called me back for the pickup number.
You know, but I would like to go even further, you know, the cost of the packer, you know, it would be leased, it would be,
Well, that's a purchased outright, so that's just another
This-
conversation.
this is the purchase. I thought it was cheaper if we leased it.
No, it's it's $70,000 a year if we lease one.
Yeah,
That's a 2-year-old lease, or a 1 year, excuse me, a leased packer that's 1 year old.
okay.
So
and
we're
that's-
buying a packer that they leased for a year. It's got 20,000 miles on it, and it's got 4 years of the warranty left on it. We're purchasing that packer. That's what those numbers reflect.
But by having the packer at the transfer station only, not during curbside, we're saving on gas and repairs.
Sure. Yeah, and we're saving on the tonnage numbers that are being picked up curbside privately.
Yeah.
You know, so those numbers are all, yeah, part of the equation. The other thought is that's buying the packer outright year one as part of that warrant article.
All right,
So Chad, if we were to go to just open up the transfer station,
Yep.
like we were talking about.
so this is, if it were trash collection curbside, it's 220.
Right.
And this is, if we did it, 200.
So this is a 25-yard packer. This is a 16, I believe. So it's just smaller. We need 25-yard packer to get around town
Okay.
and pick up everything in one run. At the curbside, at the transfer station, if we're doing that much less tonnage, we don't need that big of a packer.
Okay, and this is if we do it at the transfer station.
Right.
Okay, and then it's cost repairs.
And all we need to do to be legal is have a transfer station,
All right.
right?
What's that?
All we need to do to be legal is have the transfer station.
Yes,
open.
we're not required by DES to run curbside pickup. We are required to have somebody, a contract with somebody or our own facility in order to pick up trash. I mean, and to drop off trash rather, a
Right.
place for them to go.
So the rest of my question was, if we sold stickers, which, I mean, some people have them, they were given away for a little while. I don't know if they still are through the town clerk's office, but if
Guys,
we
can we
charge some amount for that.
Guys,
that
we
money
have
could go into
multiple
a revolving
conversations
fund,
going here.
correct?
Thank you.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think that, if we do go back to that, I think that would make sense. And the other thing, I think it's important to make sure people come from Allenstown. I mean,
Right.
I know, I've heard, some trash doesn't always only come from Allenstown.
So, and
Because
that
it's
was-
easy to just go into the dump.
That was a fight. That was a fight for years and years and years.
And I mean, I don't mind paying for my fair share, but really,
Right.
I don't wanna see trash coming in from other towns.
Nope.
And I really hate to have to pay for, trash where some people throw 10 bags away a week. I throw away 2,
Right.
I mean, if
I
it's
get
that
it.
balance, I mean, that's follows the
But-
same model as SOAR and all our other utility bills. We pay for what we use.
Right. But
That's-
some people have 10 kids in the system, in the school system, and some don't have any, and they pay for it too. It's part of being a community.
I agree,
You know, I mean, you can go, I mean, towns have done pay to throw and separated it out. I thought that would have been the better choice right along, but, I mean, that's gonna be a hard sell too at this point.
The people are upset, they just want.
Right,
their
I mean,
trash back. They
they're,
don't want
pay to
it.
throw is no different than what they're doing now, really, with a private guy coming curbside. You know what I mean? I mean, so I don't know that that wins us anything, but, you know, in the long run, the transfer station is a hinge to everything being compliant.
Are you talking about the bags paid?
Yeah.
I'm not paying $5 for a bag to throw it away, I'm not doing that,
Right.
I keep firm one.
Right, and that's the
what
thing,
he's- That's what he's saying.
I know,
Right.
like, it's just
it's kind of
wasteful.
it's the same, you know, I mean, that, a pay to throw system
Purple
is very
bag.
close to what we're now operating.
So the question I have for the board, would you guys be willing to talk about maybe a way we can make sure that the station is just used for residents? Maybe, like we used to have a sticker for $1, you know, and someone monitoring it, or something.
And I mean, you know, Alice has been there for 13 years now.
Yeah.
Knows most of the people that come through, and questions the ones that they
Yeah,
don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
we're in such a day of technology and everything that we can do, we probably could have something that, you know.
Oh, I mean, we can go back to a sticker and throw a sticker on the.
Used to be $1 a year, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't guarantee that, you know, Mark doesn't go to his buddies in Pembroke and picks up 3 mattresses, because
Well,
it's
yeah,
cheaper
but
for us.
yeah, you
Is to
can't-
get rid of them over here, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it'll cut down on something, we're never gonna get rid of all.
No, but I think, and we went back to, I was a big fan of going back to stickers this year, because we've had such a turnover in town of people, that we realized that we didn't know people anymore. We really don't know the majority of people, you know, I mean, most of the people that were here when I grew up are, sorry to say, are no longer with us, you know, I mean, and that's just the way it is.
To throw away like a TV.
Yeah.
You guys don't do that, you have to go online and pay, there's always like a $5 fee.
So
Pay
you
extra to
you
do
can
it.
either go online or go to town hall, yeah.
Oh, you can go to town hall.
And if you go to town hall, there's no fee.
So I was horrified, I'm like, it's a $5 extra fee, I'm already paying.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it goes to you guys, then that.
No, it's all the software company
Oh,
and
so
the
the
credit card.
$5
fees.
fee doesn't
Yeah, it
go to
doesn't,
you.
we don't even get it. We get the fee for the item.
For the item.
Yeah.
So it's better off going to the town hall and getting,
Yeah.
getting whatever you need to throw.
Yeah.
That's kinda, it's like, not even- I would think like $2 or $3, but I was like, $5?
And taking money at the transfer station's been talked about a bunch of times, and it's never.
Doesn't sound like a good idea.
No.
Even with like Venmo and different things like that. I know that doesn't cover everybody.
Yeah, it's
that
just-
option. Like if I didn't do it on town hall, I could have the option of thing. You know?
I mean, you have to, so what a lot of people do is they show up and they then pay for it on their phone through the town website.
Pay the fee.
And, yeah, pay the fee, and then we're like, okay, you're good, thank you.
We get mad.
Yeah.
Cause it's inconvenient. They show up on Saturday, you know, you gotta go to town hall. Yeah.
Okay, any other discussions with regards to the budget?
So if we don't vote on the budget now, when will we be voting on it?
Right after we meet with the school, then we'll have a good picture of what the school's coming in at, what the town is at, and then we can vote and get it done that
So
day.
we have a motion to vote to not vote today, to vote then, is that how we're doing it, or we just saying we're not voting?
Yeah, we're just gonna postpone the vote until after the school,
Gotcha.
okay? Any other discussions, because I didn't have to pause the recorder, I guess. Any other discussions? No, anything else that you would like to see the next time we meet that hasn't? I would just be prepared to, you know, I mean, we don't have the school reports yet, so we don't know what anything is coming in at. But if you could take the time with, I think we meet again in 2 weeks? Well, December, I think, is it the 13th? It's in my schedule.
I don't think I don't have this. Can't do a Saturday before Thanksgiving,
Malay,
I'll throw up.
Yeah.
in the schedule, you have the 22nd down.
Can you not
There's
do
any
the Saturday
further
before
discussion?
Thanksgiving? My house is trashed, and I just have no.
Yeah, but that's,
Are you kidding me right now? I'm like, I can't get anything done in my house.
It gets me out of doing all
but
that.
He's like, I would even move it to.
Is that why you joined this thing?
I'm
Okay.
hosting, and I have to clean my.
yeah, but I think we can get it all done on the 13th, because I don't wanna infringe on, you know, the holiday and. So our next meeting is scheduled for November 22nd, and that was to
Ugh.
kinda
All right, I'm not coming to that one.
Yeah, well, hang on, Deb, I'm not done. We're not done, I'm not doing the 22nd, okay? So we're not gonna do the 22nd, because we did a lot of discussion today on what we think is coming forward, and, you know, we'll have more information with regards to the whole trash thing. I think we kind of addressed pretty much all of the warrant articles. You know, the sewer's going in for that $295, and they're just transferring money. We have 25,000 we talked about for recycling, revolving, and the trash at 450, and then the actual budget. So from now until we meet again, so the school, we're gonna be meeting on December 13th, 9 o'clock here, the school will present. And then we'll be in a position to move forward, you know, do the school, do the town, and wrap it up on that day.
December what?
It's the 13th.
Is that gonna be like till 1
Yeah.
or 3, or do you have an idea, like how long that one is gonna be?
Well, the school goes on from 9 to 11:45, and then I'm thinking we can just dive right into the budget. So I'm thinking no later than 3.
Okay.
That's hopeful. But we gotta wrap it up before the holidays. So we will not meet next week. I wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Same to you.
Stay safe if you're traveling.
Do we know a reason why the school is holding everything up?
We don't have the, we don't have the school budget, the SAU.
Yeah, the SAU keeps telling them not to send it up yet. So they haven't been able to send it up, I think it's up there now already.
Why are they telling them not to send it?
Well, they have to do Chichester's, everybody's.
Do they
For
ever-
some
do
reason,
they switch it?
Allenstown's
So, like,
last.
we're always last.
So they were going to switch it right before Peter Warburton died, because I asked him, like, why are we always last and we're always trailing? And, you know, the SB2 towns, I think there's 2 SB2 towns, so there's Allenstown and who's the other one, whatever. Those go last. Is it Epsom? So, and then Peter died, unfortunately, and so now we're back to the bottom of the. But I mean, they'll have.
Indicating that it wasn't gonna go up much, right?
Right, I mean, last year they came in below default, and they're kind of leaning that way. The thing with the school, though, I don't think the budget, I mean, that will come in at or lower than prior year, I would think. But there'll be 2 warrant articles, obviously, for it's 3-year, every 3 years, they do the teacher contracts, and they do the para contracts. So there'll be discussion on those things through warrant articles. So from now until December 13th, if you could all just, you know, do a deep dive into these budget worksheets. See where, you know, and then we can have that discussion, see where you would propose there could be a cut, you know, and we can have that dialogue and kind of move things
We
quickly.
vote on every line item kinda, or just?
Well, the thing with voting on every line item, I mean, certainly that, when I present to the public hearing, I would like to go line by line, because I think, you know, and I told people that I would do that this year. But at the end of the day, the town department heads manage the bottom line of their budget.
Right, micromanage.
So for us to, you know, I mean, we're relying on them to provide what's needed to run their department accurately, you know, and effectively, and, you know, efficiency and all that good stuff. So we don't wanna micromanage every single line item, because they just manage that bottom line of their budget. But it, you know, I mean, again, go through it and see if, you know, cause we can certainly make adjustments if, you know, recommend, because it's gonna be, do we recommend the budget or not recommend the budget? You know, and if we could be ready at public hearing to say, no, we didn't recommend it, and this is why. So you could make adjustments to that bottom line of each individual budget. So, but in a nutshell, let's, you know, try to, so we can tackle it, we'll have the school, and then we'll have, you know, a good feel for where we are with this, and then we can add in all the warrant articles, should they be approved, what we'd be looking at for a real tax impact. But all in all, I think the town we're going in the right direction. You know, albeit it was a small decrease in the tax rate this last bill, but it was a decrease, 54 cents was it, or somewhere around there. It's going in the right direction, you know, so we will see where we are, but we'll meet again, 9 o'clock, hopefully Keith is back, he'll provide maybe breakfast or lunch, I don't know, maybe dinner.
Can we get drinks too?
Oh, not in a school setting, sorry.
You need to adjourn.
I need to adjourn this meeting. Who's going to make the motion?
I second.
Jeff. Deb, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank